Alrighty, so for today's video is going to be very unique because this only happens once per year, Jackson Hole, which a lot of people in the stock market don't really follow too much because the Federal Reserve is really not supposed to be the spotlight of the U.S. stock market. What is supposed to be the spotlight of the U.S. stock market? It's profitability of companies and also future profitability of companies. So, since 2022, the stock market has been dead set focused on every single thing the Federal Reserve does, what they say. People go out and gamble their money. People go out and literally make crazy assumptions and try to really make some quick money here, quick money there, instead of really focusing on what matters, and that is profitability around great companies. So welcome if you are new. I put out videos on this YouTube channel typically Monday through Friday. Saturday is free educational content. I've been in this market for going on almost 7 years now, and I really started following this stuff in 2022 because, well, I had to. And a lot of people during 2022, they ended up walking away. They didn't want to get really much involved in the drama. They very much wanted the market to be like the crazy 2021 gigantic melt up, which was definitely fun times, but it was unsustainable fun times. And then, of course, 2020 was a gigantic buying dip opportunity of a generation. And 2022, oh man, we saw a lot of drama. So Jackson Hole is very much well known to be a little hawkish for the most part. But when you are in a macro environment, macroeconomics 101, macro and microeconomics, right? So macroeconomics, if you ever kind of have trouble remembering what macroeconomics is, I actually had a really good economic teacher that actually taught me this. Think of money. Money macro, macro money, money macro, right? So macroeconomics is basically inflation, which we are in or dealing with right now. On the flip side, it could be deflation, which could mean we're in a recession. So macroeconomics is zoomed out entirely, and it focuses on everything as a whole, right? We have stuff going on in the Middle East that is affecting oil. Oil is inflecting inflation. Last year, we had a lot of tariffs, which caused a spike in inflation. And if we go back to 2022, we had gigantic inflation that we haven't seen in America since pretty much the great inflation of the 70s. Microeconomics 101 is zoomed in. What is microeconomics? Supply and demand. Too much supply, not enough demand, prices go down. Too much demand, not enough supply, prices go up. Prime example, MU, Micron, the chips, I mean the memory companies out there, stocks, their stocks are exploding because they're experiencing a shortage, too much of a demand, not enough supply. So, Jackson Hole for the last, oh boy, 2022, 23, 24, 5. I mean, it's just been focused all around the same thing, which is really inflation. Now, I remember 2022 with Jerome Powell, and oh man, it was a bad day. Bad day indeed. Oh yes, it was very bad. The market was very much going down, and the market did not like what Powell had to say. And I believe 2023 was also very bad as well, too. Last year, wasn't terrible, if my memory serves me correctly. 2024, I don't really remember too much. I primarily remember 2022 and 23, because those years were utterly just crazy. So, today's, Jackson Hole has been concluded. It was, straight off the bat, very much, hawkish. I mean, you had the new Fed governor. You can definitely check out a lot of this stuff if you want to actually, look at, his speech and stuff broken down word by word. I actually listened to it, and I can tell you that, well, it's just, I've posted my opinion on our new Fed governor, and the guy just sounds very much like a politician. Like, Jerome Powell actually had, like, a little bit of a personality. This guy is very robotic, but what this guy wants to do is something that I really agree with, and that is get the Federal Reserve away from the spotlight, okay? I got into this stock market during crazy times, but I'm a history buff, and I know what times used to be. I got into the stock market during March of 2020 because I saw a buying opportunity of a lifetime, and I've been in the market since then. I have not left the market. I have stayed in the market. I have, when I say stayed in the market, I mean I have been continuously buying stock since I have been in the market, okay? It's not like I turn off the market for like a year or two, no, or I pull out all my money, no. Not a financial advisor, but I mean, that's very much common sense in my opinion. Trying to time the market, it's not going to go in your favor. It never does. So the Federal Reserve really needs to step away from the market, and I really feel that Kevin Walsh is trying to do that, but inflation is just really too high. Now, what do I mean by stepping away from the market? Well, if we look back in history, before 2022, the Federal Reserve was really not like the spotlight of the market. What was the spotlight of the market? Earnings, growing companies, profitability, CAGR, compound annual growth rate. Wow, this company is guiding for a 50% CAGR next year. It's a hyper-growing company. Ooh, wow. This company is going to go from 10 to now 20 compound annual growth rate. Their margins are beautiful. They're going to very much be improving over time. Their top line revenue growth is exploding, but also their bottom revenue growth is exploding too. Net profitability, profits matter. So when the Federal Reserve gets out of the spotlight, we could very much go back to normality. I know that may seem crazy, and especially if you are just getting into the stock market, we are still in very crazy, crazy times. So, it was very hawkish today. Very hawkish indeed. So, we are 19 days away from the new Federal Reserve meeting, FOMC, in September. And I've been covering this on this YouTube channel since, actually, hold on one second. Why is the screen messed up here? Here we go. I've been talking about this stuff since I've been really posting videos back in November last year. And this channel is still relatively new, so if you enjoy my content, drop a like, click subscribe. It really does help me grow. I actually make video games on YouTube. My main YouTube channel is Nightmare RH with 200,000 plus subscribers. Nobody's really interested in the stock market, and it really is a shame. I got a public profile going right now that I made just for this YouTube channel. And I mean, my public profile I showed yesterday, I am murdering compared to the S&P 500. My public profile is up by 50% year to date. I am destroying the S&P 500 this year. Oh yeah. So I mean, that is your goal, and I am a individual stock picker when it comes to stocks. So I talked a lot about this back in December of last year. December of last year, we were going into FOMC meeting when the government was shut down with Jerome Powell. There was a 25% chance that Jerome Powell was going to cut interest rates. Guess what Jerome Powell did? Jerome Powell cut interest rates. In my opinion, these percentages are bull. Trying to keep it PG, but I really can't. What's kind of really funny, if you watch a movie from like the 70s or 80s that is rated PG, a little bit off topic, but you are allowed to say the word shit in those movies. So yeah, let's pretend that we're in the 80s right now. Bullshit, right? So these percentages are based on algos, and understand that it's really up to the Federal Reserve to vote, not just the Fed governor. Because all of the Federal Reserve members need to vote. So if the Fed governor wants to lower rates or hold rates, but you got all the other Fed governors voting to raise rates, it's like the Supreme Court. okay? The president of the United States of America only picks the nominee. So if you have a Democrat-based, Supreme Court and a Republican president, well, that Supreme Court's going to go very much to Democrat policies. You have a Democrat president, a Republican Supreme Court, that Supreme Court could very much lean to Republican rulings. Well, there are Republican and Democrat, governors on the Federal Reserve Board meeting. Politics play a big role. What do I feel is going to happen in September? I don't believe this. I really don't. I don't believe that there's going to be rate hikes. And the reason being is because, one, oil is very much stable below 80. It's near low 80s. That's my thesis 101. Number two is because I do believe politics are at play, and I do believe that there's going to be some good news hopefully before the midterms. Otherwise, it's going to be a slaughter festival for the Republicans coming up in the midterms. And if it was vice versa, let's say you had a Democrat in power at the White House, along with the Democrat Senate and House, well, I mean, it would be a slaughter for the Democrats as well, too. So I don't believe there's going to be a rate hike. That would be a shocker. But I want to go ahead and outline some notes here from this meeting. I use Google Gemini a lot. I highly recommend using AI as a tool. ChatGPT, Grok, Claude can very much do all the same thing. And I basically pretty much asked Gemini here to really highlight some key takeaways. And Gemini honestly really pulled a lot of really good points. Inflation is really, or rather I should say, ultimately came off as very hawkish, which is traditionally bearish for stocks and gold. Yep, Jackson Hole, this Jackson Hole was definitely very hawkish. Inflation is still too high. The Fed has work to do. Pretty much Walsh said that multiple times. The Fed has work to do. Multiple times. It could signal very hawkish. The end of forward guidance. I disagree with this, though, because once again, I believe the Federal Reserve wants to get out of the spotlight, and by not having forward guidance, I believe that is bullish, aka dovish, not necessarily bearish, but AI, the algos, are very much saying the opposite. So I disagree with AI on this one. Market reaction. So yes, market reaction. There is, of course, market reaction. Obviously, it's not like a full-blown market reaction like several years ago, I will say. Let me go ahead and pull up the charts here. So basically, pretty much, what do I want to see here? We got a little bit of green on the SPY, the Qs, IWM. I mean, nothing really big in change. Oil is below 85 bucks, but I mean, just by like a ball hair, very much, right? Trying to keep it maybe a little bit PG-13 here, right? Obviously, SoFi, very interest rate sensitive. SoFi is not breaking down. You would really think that SoFi would be down by like 5%. SoFi is only down by 1.72%, and I think that's really a lot because of Anthony Noto and his phenomenal management team around SoFi, where basically pretty much you have a management team that is guiding despite like the fear of rate hikes, which Anthony Noto has already done and came out. Despite the fears of rate hikes, SoFi has increased their guidance. So I mean that's a very bold statement, and I mean I love Anthony Noto. I mean the guy's a baller. So I mean yeah, I think that's probably why SoFi is not really selling off here. But I mean otherwise today for Jackson Hole, I mean man oh man, it was definitely very hawkish. It was definitely a very hawky kind of a event. But when it comes to rate cuts or rate hikes, understand if you do your due diligence and your history like I have, the Federal Reserve is not supposed to be in the spotlight, okay? If the Federal Reserve needs to raise rates a little bit, hey, raise rates, okay? Raise rates. If the Fed needs to cut rates, hey, cut rates, okay? The market needs to get back to focus on profitability. Wow, this company is profitable. What have we been seeing the last couple years? We have been seeing phenomenal companies put up amazing numbers. Oh, what about inflation? What about inflation? What about inflation? The company just put up record-breaking numbers and the stock price sold off because of what? We're living in crazy times. And in my opinion, it's the best time to be buying stock. That's what I've done. That's what I'm doing. In the last, I want to say 10 months now, I have now bought over $100,000 worth of hard stock, cash. Do not buy a margin. Don't believe in it. Believe working hard, building cash, making investments. And I've been taking advantage of this buying opportunity. So please take that with a grain of salt. Please do your due diligence. If you have time today, definitely check out Kevin Walsh's, Cliff Notes, or maybe listen to the entire video. If you can't stand politicians like me, oh, it's going to be a little hard. It definitely will. Much love, much appreciation. I'll see you all tomorrow for a brand new video. On a closing note, there's going to be live streams that are going to be happening on this YouTube channel in the very near future. So definitely stay tuned for that. I know that right now the stock market is very unpopular, like I said, but the flip is going to definitely happen. And in my opinion, it could relatively be soon. Maybe before or after the midterms. All right, everyone, later.